everyone, so today we are going to be starting the book review and I'm really excited to do this. I've been waiting on doing a book review for a very long time. We are going to start with At First Sight by Nicholas Sparks, and the first thing I want to touch base on is that this is one of the probably the first books that I read of Nicholas Sparks that isn't the perfect ending. Like, this book has a very tragic ending, but it's nonetheless, it's still a very good book. We are started out with Jeremy Marsh, and he lives in the west side of New York City. He is this Italian-Irish American, and he loved wearing these dress shirts, and he is a subscriber to GQ magazine, and he is a writer for the scientific magazine. He is packing to move to Boone Creek, North Carolina to be with his fiance, Lexi. So when he first got to Boone Creek, Lexi had surprised him with a plaid shirt. Friends are like, dude, like, what's going on with you? You look like a tourist and you look like a lumberjack. His best friend, Alvin Bernstein, is basically like, bruh, like, you barely know this girl. You need to slow it down and you shouldn't rush to move in with her. Jeremy is just like, you know, like, this is my girl. I really like her. And Alvin just wouldn't let it go. He just kept pressing on. He ended up spilling that Lexi is pregnant and that they're having a girl, and that he wants Alvin to be his best man at the wedding. So we know that they are gonna get married. Fast forward, and he's moving to Boone Creek. Jeremy and Lexi encounter a couple that has a screaming infant that's just throwing this huge fit, and the couple has no idea how to control the child. At least that's what Jeremy and Lexi think, and they both agree that their child will never act like that, and they just have this perfect little white picket fence, happily ever after family image in their brain, and they both know deep down inside that that's really not realistic, and that it's not a matter if their child will act like that, but when their child will act like that. Jeremy takes Lexi to meet his parents. His parents loves her, and especially his mom. His mom is like, you know, you're gonna keep this guy in check, and I like you. But they didn't reveal of the pregnancy to his parents. So that next morning, Jeremy and Lexi are in bed, and Jeremy is basically telling her that he has these quirks about him and he has flaws, and he doesn't think that she will really want to be with him. He tells her about those things, and she jokes around with him and is like, you know, like, I really love you because you are you, and it doesn't really matter what your flaws are. Like, I'm still gonna love you. We then meet Doris. She's Lexi's grandma, and she is the owner of the restaurant in Boone Creek. It's Herb's. She's also psychic. Jeremy is very skeptical about that. He doesn't believe that she's a psychic. Like, that's not real. Doris has a journal. She can touch a pregnant girl's belly, and she can tell the gender of the baby. So that's basically what she visions. We are told about the council meeting that happens every third Monday of every month. So it's a big social event, and they have bingo afterwards. And so then we are introduced to Tom Gherkin. He's the mayor. We are then introduced to Rodney, who is the town sheriff. He's had a crush on Lexi since they were kids. Obviously, he's not too happy about Jeremy and Lexi's engagement. Rodney is dating the flirtatious waitress at Herb's, Rachel, and Rachel is also Lexi's best friend. Alvin really has a crush on Rachel, even though Rachel is obviously Rodney's girl. Alvin begins to ask Jeremy, you know, have you talked to Rachel? Like, have you seen her. Like, have you seen her? Like, you know that song by MC Hammer, Have You Seen Her? Have you seen her? And so he really has like this big crush on Rachel. Lexi's parents had gotten married at Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. That's where she wants to have her wedding. But the problem is it's a state park, and so it's very hard to reserve a spot for an event because of the traffic that goes on. Lexi suggests him talking to Mayor Gherkin and pulling some strings. He talks to him, and Mayor Gherkin says he will see what he can do. He stumbled upon a conversation about the different articles that Jeremy has written. Jeremy tells him that he's interviewed like a whole bunch of celebrities and interviewed an astronaut. And Mayor Gherkin is like, hold up, stop in your tracks. You interviewed an astronaut. Like, we need to get this guy down here in this small town and have traffic flowing to this small town. He is like, okay, yeah, I will see what I can do. So Lexi and Jeremy are looking for a house. Jeremy is the breadwinner, but Lexi is picking out the house. They ended up picking a house and they wanted to remodel it. Time that the house is being remodeled, Jeremy is staying with Lexi at her house. Sometimes he goes to the motel, the Green Leaf. They end up going shopping for the baby. They end up having like this huge argument. They can't agree on anything. Before Jeremy was moving to Boone Creek, when he was with Alvin, it was revealed that he was previously married to a girl named Maria. He was very nervous on kind of getting married to Lexi, but it had nothing to do with Lexi in general. It was just he had a lot of trust issues. Lexi is the local librarian at Boone Creek. One day, Jeremy was trying to surprise her with some fresh flowers. Drove by her workplace and didn't see her car in the parking spot that she usually parks at. And so he is like, okay, maybe she went to go for a walk or wanted to, you know, enjoy the nice weather outside. He drives around and he ends up seeing her car behind a dumpster. And he gets very scared and worried for her. I mean, this is not only the love of his life, but she's carrying his child. You know, drives around and he ends up finding her sitting on a bench on the boardwalk. And he stops in his tracks because she's not alone. She's with Rodney. And they're holding hands. And he begins to overthink everything. And he's like, you know, I don't think she's cheating on me, but I don't know. So he's very anxious. He wants to talk to her about it, but he doesn't know how to approach it. And he just wants to let it go. And some time passes. They still argue. Like, they argue all the time. They can't agree to anything. Lexi's actually very emotional. I mean, we women are already emotional enough, but she's pregnant. There was this one night where they were in bed, and she starts crying, and she says that she killed her cat. And Jeremy was like, okay, what are you talking about? She's like, well, I accidentally put him in the dryer when I was bringing clothes from the from the washer to the dryer. He's like, okay. And she's very easily agitated. She killed Boots on accident, and then she basically said that she was going to be a bad mom, and that's really how it played over and over in her mind. Like, I'm going to be a bad mom. Jeremy would reassure her, like, no, you're going to be a wonderful mom. Fast forward, we see that Rachel, who is Lexi's best friend, she disappears and no one can seem to find her. Jeremy and Doris has gotten really close. They're really good friends. He confides in her a lot. He goes to her and he's asking her what happened, you know, did Rodney and Rachel have an argument? And he's very trying to see if Rodney was the reason that she disappeared. And Doris is like, you know, wait a minute, I know what you're thinking. It has nothing to do with Rodney. They do argue, but he's not that type of guy to like commit a mass murder or anything like that.